History is rarely decided by the person with the biggest sword. It is decided by the person who can stay awake the longest, see the farthest, and move the fastest. We obsess over the weapons of the past, the broadswords, the muskets, the catapults. But what about the quiet revolutions, the things that change the way a human being functions on a daily basis? Imagine stepping into a time machine. You aren't carrying a machine gun or a tank. Instead, your backpack is filled with the mundane items of a 21st century convenience store. To you, they are cheap luxuries. To the people of the 1600s, they are reality-warping miracles. Today, we aren't talking about conquest. We are talking about influence. This is the logistics protocol. We're bringing instant energy, infinite light, and the ability to freeze time to a world that still lives by the candle. But as we're about to find out, being a god of logistics is a dangerous game, because when the supply chain breaks, the god falls first. Let's start in the year 1650, London. The city is the center of a burgeoning global trade, but it is also a city of sludge. People drink weak beer because the water is lethal, and the coffee houses are just beginning to appear. But the coffee of the 17th century is a disaster. It's a bitter, gritty, poorly roasted brew that takes 20 minutes to prepare and tastes like burnt dirt. Now imagine you walk into the famous Lloyd's coffee house. You don't ask the barista for a pot. You pull out a small glass jar of premium micro-ground instant coffee. You ask for a cup of hot water, and in 3 seconds, you create a perfect, dark, aromatic cup of high-caffeine liquid focus. The smell alone would stop the room. In an era where everyone is slightly buzzed on ale or struggling, you have discovered true speed. You would be heralded as a wizard of the mind. Philosophers like Isaac Newton or political theorists would beg you for a taste of this miracle powder. You would be the most productive person in the Enlightenment, capable of staying awake and sharp while the rest of the world fades at sunset. But caffeine is a debt that eventually comes due. You have a finite amount of powder. You've introduced a high-speed addiction to a world that has no way to satisfy it once you run out. When the jar is empty and your hands start to shake, the wisest man in London suddenly looks like a shivering fraud. You didn't bring intelligence, you brought a temporary chemical peak. And in 1650, withdrawal looks a lot like a curse. Now we move back further. The year is 1300, the Middle Ages. In this world, when the sun goes down, the world effectively disappears. The only light comes from flickering tallow candles or dangerous wood fires. Night is a time of terror, of monsters, and of total helplessness. You arrive with a 20,000 mAh solar-powered battery bank and a high-efficiency LED lantern. To a medieval peasant, fire is a living thing that eats wood and breathes smoke. But your light is different. It is cold, it is piercingly bright, and it comes from a small plastic rock. You are no longer just a traveler. You are the master of lightning. You can turn midnight into noon with the flick of a switch. You can lead armies through the dark or read secret scrolls in the dead of night. Because your device is solar-powered, your magic seems eternal. As long as the sun rises, your light returns. You would be the ultimate advisor to any king. You would be seen as a holy figure, a man who carries a piece of the sun in his pocket. But technology is only as strong as its weakest link. Look at the charging port. Look at the thin copper wire of the USB cable. In the 14th century, there is no one who can solder a broken connection. There is no one who can fix a bent pin. One accidental drop into a puddle, one rough shove in a crowded market, or a single speck of rust. Inside that port, and your divinity is over. You aren't just in the dark now. You've proven to the world that your godlike power can be killed by a grain of sand. And a god that can be killed is a god that people stop fearing. Finally, we look at the most haunting item in your kit, the Polaroid camera. We are back in the 1600s, an era where the only way to see your own face was a polished piece of metal or a painting that cost more than a house. Most people lived and died without ever knowing exactly what they looked like. You stand before a lord or a general. You point a strange, clicking box at them. There is a sudden, blinding flash of artificial lightning, a spark of the heavens. Then, a small white card slides out of the bottom, as the court watches in a silence so thick, you can hear their hearts beating, the colors begin to swirl. A face appears, then eyes, then the exact detail of the Lord's own silk tunic. You haven't just made art, you have captured a soul. You are the spirit catcher. You have the power to freeze time itself. You could use this to blackmail the corrupt, to document the faces of the dying, or to create icons for a new religion. You would be the most powerful person in the royal court. But your power is measured in sheets of film. Each click of the shutter is a miracle that can never be recovered. With every photo you take, you are closer to becoming immortal again. When the last cartridge is empty, you are left with a plastic brick. You'll find that people are very angry when they realize you can no longer bless them with their own image. You went from a prophet to a thief who stole their vanity and left them with nothing. The logistics protocol proves that the modern world isn't built on iron. It's built on the invisible systems that support us. We are gods today because we have infinite light, instant energy, and perfect memory. But those gods are fragile. When you take the future to the past, you aren't just bringing tools, you are bringing a countdown. Every item in your bag is a ticking clock. The question isn't whether you could conquer the past with a backpack full of gadgets. The question is, who would you be when the last drop of coffee is gone, the last battery dies, and the last photo is taken? Would you still be a leader? Or would you just be a man who forgot how to live in the world as it actually is? If you could take one non-weapon item back to history, knowing it would eventually break, which one would you choose? Is the temporary power worth the inevitable fall? Let me know in the comments below. We're building a community of time travelers, so hit the subscribe button and the bell to join the protocol. This has been the Logistics Protocol. I'll see you in the next era.